Am I the a-hole for refusing to pressure my grandfather to give my stepsister the family diamond? Context. I am 25 female. My parents have been divorced for 15 years. My dad has been married to his wife, Laura, for 10 years. Laura has 2 daughters, Katie 26 female and Sam 22 female. My dad is very close to Katie and Sam and considers them to be daughters to him. The grandfather I'm referring to is my dad's father. My grandfather has a diamond that belonged to my great-grandmother, and it's something of a family miracle, since my grandfather managed to find it after World War II. Unfortunately, he lost his mother and sister in the war, so he saved the diamond to be for the next woman in the family, to be set into an engagement ring. Now, my grandfather has a thing about blood and family. Namely, if you're not blood, you can be family, but you're not in the family. And I'm pretty sure this is somewhat related to his trauma, but it might be a generational thing. Because of this distinction, his sons were not allowed to use the diamond for their wives' rings, because then the diamond would belong to the wife and the wife is not blood. I'm his only biological granddaughter, so it was always presumed that the diamond would go to me. I got engaged last year and I didn't end up using the diamond for the ring. The diamond was not a color or the cut of the style I wanted, and my grandfather knew that. He offered to have the diamond recut, but I begged him not to because it is very valuable, and I know how much it means to him. So, he agreed that when I get married, he will set it into a necklace to be worn on my wedding day instead. Now, Katie is going to get engaged soon, and my dad is likely to be asked to walk her down the aisle. Laura asked my grandfather to give her the diamond for Katie's ring, since she is basically my father's daughter. My grandfather said, and I quote, "Not even over my dead body," and that the diamond will stay in the family. That said, Laura, my dad, and Katie are now extremely upset. My dad suggested maybe I could ask my grandfather to let them use the diamond, since I hadn't used it for a ring anyway, and that he considers Katie part of his family and will be forever. So it should be okay for her to have it, especially since she is older, so the first woman as it were. My grandfather would probably relent if I asked him, but I said no, because I would feel too guilty. That diamond is all my grandfather has left of a family he lost in the most horrific circumstances when he was 9 years old. They don't even have graves. That stone is literally all he has to remember them. What right do any of us have to dictate what he does with it? Katie, Laura, and my dad have all been texting and calling about how hurt they are, that I'm letting my grandfather exclude Katie from the family, and that I already have a ring. Why can't I just help my grandfather soften and let Laura and her kids be part of the family? I'm holding firm on it for now, but should I be? Now for the top comments. The diamond is all my grandfather has left of a family he lost in the most horrific circumstances when he was 9 years old. They don't even have graves. That stone is literally all he has to remember them. What right do any of us have to dictate what he does with it? Not the a-hole. I love you for this. For this statement alone, the diamond should go to you. Allow him to set it in a necklace and wear it all the time. It will make your grandpa happy. Not the a-hole. Reading between the lines, it seems your grandfather lost his family specifically because of their blood/genealogy. It makes sense that his own survivors matter so much to him. Not the a-hole. As much as they may be upset, it's not theirs. Your grandfather wants it to go to someone genetically related to him, not to someone brought into the family by marriage. His reasoning is exactly the same reason he didn't give it to the women marrying into the family. Grandpa has a right to say no. Your dad and stepsisters will just have to get over it. The hard truth is that they are not his grandchildren. They are step-grandkids, and family heirlooms don't typically pass down to stepchildren, especially with an older generation. And they became his step-kids as teens. It's not like he's been in their lives since they were babies. They likely didn't grow up viewing him as their grandfather at all, and while he may like them, they aren't his grandkids by blood or by social convention given their ages. Even if the kids had been adopted at birth, it wouldn't matter. They still wouldn't be blood relatives. Opie's the only one entitled to that diamond, as she's the only one genetically related to the grandfather. Opie's not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not bringing a cake to a wedding I was uninvited from? My now ex-best friend got married this Saturday. I was supposed to be the maid of honor, but she removed me from the wedding over a dispute regarding my makeup, hair, and disinterest in the wedding. She uninvited me from the wedding after I told friends my side of the story. I was responsible for the cake at the wedding but canceled the order because I was uninvited and wanted to be reimbursed for all of my investments in this wedding. I told the bride I wasn't going to bring the cake over for them, The new maid of honor went to pick up the cake and learned that I had canceled the order. They were able to get another cake, but it apparently wasn't as nice. The bride, groom, and my sister who attended told me it was unfair to cancel the cake. My sister thinks I should have let them enjoy their special day, and then later discussed getting my money back. The bride refers to the cake as a gift and claims that a gift cannot be returned. The groom just agrees with literally anything his precious wife says. More info, please. What was the dispute? Why did she accuse you of being disinterested in the wedding? What actually happened here? I work at a job where I'm expected to drop everything and come in at work. She was upset because I was leaving during wedding planning meetings, and I also requested to style my hair differently and she got upset. You don't disinvite someone from a wedding and still expect a gift. Not the a-hole. I guess you could say the bride wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Yep, and there is no way that the bride would have settled up after the wedding. She would have stuck to the "this was her gift" line. Not the a-hole. So they uninvite you from the wedding but believe they were still entitled to the cake you had paid for? They're all ridiculous if they think that is normal. Completely agree. Also messed up that your sister is saying you're unfair. Should be upset too if she were uninvited and still expected to gift a cake. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. First, I've never heard of a maid of honor being responsible for the wedding cake. Was that an agreement in lieu of a gift or something? When I was getting married, I was way excited about the excuse for cake. I don't think I would have let someone else make those arrangements. You said you told them you weren't bringing the cake over. Did you mention that was because the order was canceled, or just that you weren't transporting the cake? It's weird that she didn't clarify on this point when she uninvited you. Sounds like they want to have their cake and eat it too, without you around. She was stressed, so I offered to help with some things. I booked the cake under my name and still had a different gift for them. After getting uninvited, I told her, don't expect me to supply you with a cake. So I did not exactly say I canceled your cake. Next story. Am I the a-hole for inserting myself into a married couple's financial life? I'm friends with a married couple, Grace and Michael. Grace and I went out to drink a few days ago, just the two of us. We talked a bit about inflation and finances, and she confessed to me that she barely has any money, and it makes her feel really vulnerable. Turns out, they mostly live off of her income, and Michael, who makes over 2.5 times as much as Grace, puts almost all of his income into savings. He also asks Grace to transfer any of her bonuses or extra money into that savings account. The problem is that Grace has no access to that account. She told me she asked for it in the past, but Michael just said she already has access to their shared checking account. That is strictly for their monthly expenses, so it's fine. Grace told me that she feels like she should have access to that account too, or at least have a little extra in her own personal account. So if anything happens to Michael, she doesn't have to wait months to access the money. She told this to Michael too, but he dismissed her and said nothing will happen to him. I told Grace that this is really not okay, and she should demand access to that account. It's her money too, and it's not right that only Michael has access to it. I was very strong about this, and made her promise that she will make Michael give access to her. She seemed very relieved that I agree with her, and find her concerns more than reasonable. Now on to the problem. Currently, Michael is throwing a fit at me for inserting myself into their financial life, saying it's none of my business. He says that over 85% of the money was put into the savings account by him, and whatever Grace put there was just to compensate for the things Michael paid for alone in the past. Yes, he is right that is none of my business, but my close friend came to me saying she feels vulnerable because at 30 years old, she only has about 500 euros in her name, despite having a well-paying job. Of course, I will tell her this isn't right and encourage her to stand up for herself. But since I'm friends with Michael too, I don't know. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You are warning a friend that it sounds like she's a victim of financial abuse. He's demanding all her pay be shared while sharing none of his. He's trying to make sure she has no funds to which she can use to separate their lives, that he can claim all the money as his. She needed a huge wake-up call, and he's just mad you've shown her his true colors. I agree. Finally, we did the opposite. As my wife has little income, I made sure to put my life insurance in her name, and our joint savings account is in her name too. I want her to feel secure and have as much financial autonomy as possible given the circumstances. We save together, support each other. All the income is ours in my opinion. I feel like for a married couple, all income should be our money too. If that doesn't work for every couple, that is perfectly fine. Just keep totally separate accounts. I feel like it's one or the other. OP's friend's husband is trying to have it both ways. He just wants all the money. There is no reason for her to have a well-paying job and feel like she's broke all the time. OP, you were just validating what your friend already knows. Not the a-hole, but the husband sure is. Not the a-hole, and your friend is being financially mistreated by Michael, who is a total a-hole. Grace needs her own savings account to put her extra money into. This is not a marriage. Why does Michael think he deserves exclusive access to the extra money? If this is the way it's going to be, they should just keep separate finances for everything. It's an all-or-none situation. This sounds like one of those situations where the wife finds out her husband has a secret family or something. Or is deeply in debt, or gambling it all away, or has a secret drug habits or something. So many other awful and expensive things. She doesn't have access to the account because he is lying to her about what the account is for, and likely how much money is in it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for doing a background check on my boyfriend? My boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 months. Even though it's early days, I really thought he was the one. He is nice, attentive, funny, and attractive, and I'm getting older, and I thought he must be the one I have kids with and settle down with. But he doesn't drive, which is very strange in my city. The public transportation is really bad, and most people would opt for a car over an apartment because at least they would be able to get around. Only people who work from home or were in poverty wouldn't have a car, and he makes good money and works 15 minutes away from where he lives by car, so it made no sense. He shows up at dates by asking his friends for rides or asking me to pick him up. We live close by, so I didn't mind, but I asked him about it and he said cars are expensive and he didn't want to pay for one. But then he has trouble getting around and complains about how expensive Ubers are. One day, I found out that my state has a website of public crimes and decided to put in his name. A wall of offenses came up, and it matched his first, middle, and last names as well as his year of birth. He has 5 DUIs and has a court date for a pending one in a week. The DUIs range in date from 10 years ago to one he got 6 months ago. That's the one he is set to go to court for. Because his name isn't super uncommon, I decided to see if he takes the day off work because it's in the morning. He does take that day off and says he has a doctor's appointment. I confronted him when I came over that evening and he got angry at me for not trusting him and infiltrating his personal life like this. I'm angry he lied to me, and he says he doesn't have to tell me everything and that he's changed. I told him his last DUI was 6 months ago, so how has he changed? He got mad and said the cops were pinning things on him, and he just had alcohol with him and he didn't actually drink. I could believe that for 1 DUI, but he has 5. So I asked him to show me proof and he said he doesn't have to, and if I was a good girlfriend, I would just trust him. I don't because he lied to me already, but am I the a-hole for doing a background check on him why he didn't drive? Not the a-hole. Committing crimes that put other people's lives at risk isn't your personal life. Just dump him now. Dude can't even take responsibility for something he's been arrested for 5 times. Plus, if you've been arrested 5 times, guaranteed he's driven drunk multiple times where he didn't get caught. As someone who works in the justice system, I can say this is totally true. I see this all the time. I once had someone driving under influence to court. Although I live in another country, the people who do this are the same. Not the a-hole. Multiple DUIs can indicate a lot of things. And besides that, I honestly think more people should do a background check on their significant others. It could have been a lot worse than a DUI with no casualties. He wasn't honest about it and got angry when you found out. Might want to reevaluate if this is the guy for you. Might want to reevaluate. Red flags OP. These are your red flags telling you to run. At the point of 5 DUIs, it suggests to me a drinking problem. If it's changed, then does he drink? Is he an AA? I can understand not wanting to lead with that with someone before things get serious, but a conversation about a drinking problem you used to have is a lot easier than talking about a drinking problem you still have. Not the a-hole. She just looked up public records because she was curious about him dodging a question. Even if he had just said it was because of some personal issues he is addressing and wasn't ready to talk about it quite yet, OP probably wouldn't have pride. He dodged the question, and it's reasonable to look at public records to figure out why. Not the a-hole. You didn't run a background check. You checked public records. Run the heck away. Text him you're dumping him right now. He's an alcoholic liar with continual criminal thinking. Exactly. Him basically saying to you that you're not allowed to question him about what he does with his life is him saying that your relationship would be that you're not allowed to ask him questions if he had already decided to lie to you about what he was doing. He is someone who continuously drove drunk and has only stopped right now seemingly because he would go to prison. As soon as prison is off the table, he will likely be out driving drunk again.